All right, Jacob, we just got done with the Ubisoft press conference. Definitely the longest one so far.
Definitely.
Going on for, I don't know, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, something ridiculous like that. Yep.
Might have been. They started at like 4, so
Yeah.
yeah, about like 2 hours.
Yeah, so that was really, really long. But, what'd you think of it? Give me your first impressions.
I liked a lot of the stuff they showed. I thought what I liked the most about this press conference compared to the other ones today and yesterday is that a lot of it was like they showed a trailer and then they showed gameplay. It was gameplay from Ubisoft.
Yeah, it was a lot like the Microsoft conference in that way. A lot of gameplay, a lot of actual footage, what we would see. And
And a lot of actual release dates too, which
yeah,
I was honestly shocked about.
yeah, so let's talk about the opening of this conference because they definitely opened in an interesting way.
Mm.
They opened up with this dance routine, which then they segued into Just Dance 2017.
You're missing a huge important aspect of this is that the music was Don't Stop Me Now by Queen, one of the greatest compositions of music ever written.
It was Don't Stop Me Now, and they did all they announced for Just Dance was that it's coming to all platforms, including the NX. So that was
The
really
first the first mention of an NX at the
yeah,
whole E3.
yeah, and not even from Nintendo. So
Yeah.
that was really really great, but
Something tells me though that actually sets something up in the sand for this, right? Do we have a release window for the NX?
not a really good one. No, just a general like dartboard area.
Something tells me that this Just Dance 2017 being the game that's going to be on NX, something tells me it's coming maybe in the first half of the year.
I wouldn't be surprised. But after Just Dance, they went out and talked about Ghost Recon Wildlands, which was probably the one I was one of most impressed with. To me, it looked really, really good.
Oh, I've been excited for this game since last year, and this game looks incredible. I mean, you know me, I've talked about it on the show. I'm a guy who loves my co-op, right? That looks like a co-op game to beat this year.
It does look very, very good, and the gameplay looked very seamless. Everybody had a job to do. Everybody did it well, and you know what? It looks like a good, fun multiplayer shooter, and who doesn't love those, right?
Mm, that
So
that just looks great.
yeah, so March 7th, 2017 is the announce date for that. Head over to ghostrecon.com for more information, more gameplay videos. You can see what we're talking about. Really big recommendations from us.
Far away though, like it makes me afraid because the way Ubisoft goes is that if a game's coming out soon, I feel like it's not going to get downgraded, as the way Ubisoft has done in the past, and I'm really afraid that Ghost Recon will get downgraded.
Well, Ghost Recon's
So.
one of their bigger franchises, so I feel like they're careful with how they treat those. Well, I say that, but then Assassin's Creed, but
Like Watch Dogs got downgraded in the first one, and the only thing that's making me say this one won't get that downgraded is because that it comes out in like a couple months. So, I mean, how much more downgraded could it get from the way it looks? Not that it looks bad now, but you know what I mean.
yeah. So after that, they talked about the new South Park game, The Fractured But Whole, and
That looks great.
I'm not a big fan of South Park, the show or the. I mean, I haven't played the game. I heard it's great. But if you like South Park, you like South Park humor. Excuse me, I have to fix my chair because I'm like sliding. There we go. If you like South Park or you like South Park humor, this is definitely the game for you. It seems to live up to everything the first game did and doing it better.
Honestly, like I know you say you didn't play the game and you hear it's great. It is great, but it's great if you're a South Park fan in a way, you know what I mean? So I don't think you'd get anything out of it if you played it, but
Yeah,
to me, because like I'm a huge South Park fan, I've been watching South Park for like ever. Like this hit on every note. It also hit on my superhero love because they're making fun of Marvel and movie franchises and stuff.
yeah,
And it looks really good. It looks like they've fixed up a lot of the things that I maybe didn't like about the first game, like the combat. Like while I thought the combat in the first one was good for the game that it is, it looks like now it's like a much deeper combat system, and I like that a lot. And that gets me really excited to actually play this game because it's just a big long episode of South Park that you get to play as a video game, and that's cool.
yeah. So that's the one thing I hear across the board is that South Park, the video game, just plays like an episode of South Park. So check that out if you're interested. If you pre-purchase it, then you will get the Stick of Truth for free. So definitely check that out. And December 6th is the release date for that.
I was real surprised. I really thought early 2017. I even said it during the predictions show. I was real gunning like maybe it was gonna be like March or something like that. December I was really shocked by, but I'm excited. I'm happy.
Yeah, just barely nailing it on that Christmas money. So
Yeah.
After that, they talked about The Division, a lot less than I was expecting. We didn't hear a lot from them. We did see the 3 outfits that they talked about, one from Rainbow Six Siege, one from Splinter Cell, and one from Ghost Recon. And they
We got to
also
look
showed
at
a trailer of, I'm assuming you're talking about Survival, which is the next expansion.
yes. Which is weird because they just announced the first expansion like this morning,
Yeah, to me
and
this
now they're
seems
already
like
announcing the second one.
it seems like they're panicking, right? Like their games, like as much as they go on stage and say, our game's doing great, this, that, the other thing, it's not doing well. So,
Well,
I mean, there's not a lot of in-game content. The player base has dropped significantly. There's a rampant hacking, so they need to sort of get on top of it. And this, to me, feels like they're panicking and saying, all right, we need to get content out there. We announced the first expansion. Let's show a trailer for the second one. Let's show people where this game can go before we lose everybody.
I think it did well sales wise, but definitely I've read something this morning. I don't know how true this is because I read it in an article that apparently like 93% of their player base has dropped out of the division.
For the Steam platform, I believe. Yes, that's
Oh,
something. It's not all across the board, but Steam has seen significant drops because of the hacking is so rampant. So,
the headline just said the audience, so I had no clue. That's why I was saying take it with a grain of salt there. But that doesn't surprise me. There's not a lot to do once you hit that end game.
yeah, so they're grasping at straws here, trying to make sure that they can come back and still, the game had really solid promise. It sold very well, so they're not going to give up on it anytime soon. After that, they showed a gameplay of Eagle Flight, which is that VR game we'd seen last year, I believe.
Yes.
And
No, we saw it at PlayStation Experience, I think.
is that where we saw it? That
Yeah,
might be
it
true.
might have been that or Sony's press conference. I have no clue. I remember it was something to do with PlayStation VR was the first time we saw it.
Yeah, and they did a 3-on-3 capture the flag thing called Capture the Prey, and it was Palmer Luckey and one of the developers on either team, and they played a match, and we had a guy commentating over it. It looks fun. It's basic, Doesn't seem like there's a lot of substance to the game, but it's a VR game, Anything is better than nothing at this point.
The screeching was real annoying, and I remember
I
you commenting that.
I hated that. Every 4 seconds.
I think that's just the noise it makes when they do that attack thing that
Yeah,
they
when
can
they
do.
it took me a while to figure out how anybody was dying until I saw another camera and they like shoot wind blasts.
Yeah. Also, I don't get what was going on. I don't know if it's just like a fixed angle that you're at when you're looking through it, but it didn't seem very VR-ish to me. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
they weren't looking side to side. They weren't looking up or down. It looked like they were just looking straight ahead. And I don't know if that's because they were trying to see where they were flying or just because that's the only way you can look, but I don't really know.
Mm.
But after that, we had a great segment with the VR Star Trek bridge crew, and what's his name came on stage, LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton.
Yes, and he was gushing about this game. He seemed to really genuinely enjoy the experience. And from what I've seen, it looked very, very fun. And it seems to be starting a pattern of these crew-type games. We saw it with the pirate game from Microsoft's conference,
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. This one's doing it. These crew-based games are popping up all over the place, so they seem to be hitting a new stride.
I thought this game graphically looked awful, but I think like the idea of it is solid, and it could be really fun to do with like if you have like a full group of people to do it with.
Oh yeah, it's VR. So any VR that isn't like just an experience, it's a literal game, is going to be graphically kind of sucky because it's very early technology. What we have available to us can only do so much, right? So making a game in VR is much more intensive. So the graphics are going to suffer for that. But it's the early generations. We can expect that, and I'm happy to see that LeVar Burton enjoyed that game as much as he did. Definitely check that out on YouTube if you haven't seen that part of the presentation because it was just fun watching him.
He was the one who was like wicked into it too during the video that it shows of all the Star Trek people playing the game.
Yeah.
Like he was just like he was talking like he was actually on the bridge. It was great.
Yeah, so that was really, really cool. And up next was another really cool thing. I really enjoyed this one. It was For Honor. They showed this last year as well. They talked about that, and it's those of you don't remember, it's the fighting game, not really fighting game, but the game with the samurai, the Viking, and the knight, and all three of them were fighting with that really cool combat system. They showed it again, and they showed a lot more of it this time.
I didn't know this game had a campaign. Last year, I got the impression that it was an all multiplayer thing.
Yeah, because that's all they had to show. So this year they came with a campaign. We saw you were in the shoes of one of the Viking like captains, raiders, I think he was called. He was a raider, and
Mm.
you were leading the charge on a samurai fortress, and it was really really cool. I'm loving the combat system from that.
The
So
combat reminded me a lot of Dark Souls, but it looked like Dark Souls, but not frustrating.
it
You know,
looked
because
like. Oh, continue.
I was gonna say because like in Dark Souls, like you move real slow with your combat, and in this game it looks like you move slow too, but like it just makes sense because of the weight of the weapons, and you don't feel like everyone is just better than you at fighting. You know, you feel like you're on an even playing field, so it looks like Dark Souls, but not like I'm gonna pull my hair out while playing this game.
It looked to me like Dark Souls meets Dynasty Warriors because he was mowing through those little dudes like with no like just woeful abandon. He's throwing that axe around like he doesn't have a care in the world. But then he meets like one of the bigger dudes, like one of the actual like samurai guys, and he has to have an actual fight with them. So it looked to me very much like Dynasty Warriors for the little minions, and then more Dark Soulsy um for the actual like the bigger opponents, and not so much Dark Souls that you're gonna die 100 times. There, it seemed to be a very even playing field, like you said, but I am actually very excited for that game, and that was comes out on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2017.
I liked that when like of all the jokes that she made, I thought that that one was pretty good.
Yeah, and there will be alpha signups. Head over to the website to check that out to see if you can get in any of the alpha tests. But
Already tried to, and the website is like crashed basically.
yeah, whenever they announce a website in E3, it goes down immediately. So that's not terribly surprising. After that, a game that I've seen a lot of, my brother loves it. I haven't played it personally, but Grow Home is getting a sequel called Grown Up or Grow Up.
I my friend Austin always tells us to grow up, and I sent a picture of that to him on Twitter, and I said they made a game for you.
But yeah, we saw a little bit of cinematic footage, a little gameplay footage, and it's coming to in August for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. So really good game. My brother speaks very highly of the first one, so I'm sure he'll want to check this one out as well.
I never played it. It was free on PlayStation, so I have it. I want to check it out, but I've never played it.
Well,
So
it's the brother that you agree with constantly, so if he liked it, I'm sure you'll like it.
I probably will like it.
Up next is probably the single most just terrible thing I've seen at a press conference in a while, and that was the Trials of the Blood Dragon thing. That was the worst promo I've ever seen.
So I liked the way the trailer first started. I didn't like when the guys came out and did their whole thing in their jumpsuits, but I
They
liked
look like idiots.
yes, but I liked the way the trailer first started, like it was like an 80s cartoon, and then like it had the action figures and stuff. But then like they showed the gameplay, and it's just like it's not what I want from Trials or from Blood Dragon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they took two franchises, put them sort of together, and I didn't want it. Really, I don't
And
know.
like I loved the first Blood Dragon. Like I thought that that game was awesome
I never
when it
played
came.
Blood Dragon, but I am a pretty big Trials fan, so I won't be picking this one up.
Yeah, I love try. I played the first one and I played Evolution. I haven't played the newest one. What was it? Fusion?
Fusion, yeah, it's the one I have the most time in, probably.
Yeah, I haven't played the newest one yet. So I want to try that one out. And I don't know. This Blood Dragon thing looks odd though.
No, like that, I don't know. I didn't like the trailer. I didn't like the gameplay. I definitely didn't like those idiots in jumpsuits. So I didn't like anything about that. And then after that, they talked about the Assassin's Creed movie. I didn't see most of this because I had to get up and actually go to the bathroom for once. And so, as my
I
understanding was, I glanced over the notes that somebody else had posted, and it was mostly just talking to what was he, a producer, I believe?
Yeah, they brought the producer out on stage. He talked a little bit about how they wanted to really capture the universe and stuff and actually make like a good video game movie and how the director had a really good vision for it. And then they just went into a video that was just behind the scenes stuff talking to Michael Fassbender, the director, and then it showed some new footage from the movie. And I think this movie looks pretty good actually.
I have high hopes for the
Surprising.
movie, so. It seems like the first video game movie where they're giving it an honest try, and the first live-action video game movie, I mean, where they're giving it, like, an honest try again. Like, some of the older ones are, like, laughably bad, but I feel like they almost weren't trying. But this one,
With this one,
yeah, I feel like it's going to be really, really good.
they got a lot of good people involved in it, and so that makes me excited to see how it all turns out.
Yeah, and now for the game that took up probably the largest chunk of time from this press conference was Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah, probably.
A very large chunk of time was dedicated to this, and I'll stay right up front. I'm still not convinced. I don't. After that,
Really?
I'm not sold. I
I'm
just think this is not the game for me.
I'm super into it, honestly. Like when I first saw the first reveal for the original Watch Dogs, I was wicked into it. I got less and less into it over time, but I still bought it when it first came out because I was like, this game has a lot of promise to it. And while I think that game didn't totally live up to all of its promise, I think this one is actually giving it a good old college try of actually, kind of making the game that people wanted the first time around. I don't like this main character, at least from the way he's talking. He seems very stereotypical black, in a way, you know what I mean? Because he's
Yeah.
like, damn, girl, or something like that. He says something like that to that effect in the trailer, right? But I really liked that moment when he was up on the rooftop and he was like, play me something good, and he put his headphones in and started playing the music because I felt like it had like a nice energy to it when he was like sneaking into that building and stuff. And I think it looks really cool. I like the way the city looks. It actually looks like San Francisco, unlike the last one where it didn't even look like Chicago at all. Um, I think the main character looks better than Aiden Pierce did, but I don't know.
I get the impression
I,
that isn't very hard to do.
yeah, so I'm excited about this game. I think I'm gonna get it when it comes out, just because I pretty much play anything that's open world when it comes out. Um, and I'm more optimistic than I am hesitant about it.
I don't know. When I watched this, I saw very much what I saw in the first game, and I don't know. It's not grabbing me. I'm not interested. I thought the dude with the spiky jacket and the funny goggles was okay. He made me laugh
Yeah,
a little bit. Um,
he's like a weird like Mad Max
he's
guy,
he's a
just like in the middle of regular world.
he's a walking emoji, is what he is. But I don't know. It's not the game for me, which is a shame because I'm sure it'll be a decent game. I think they've learned from their mistakes. And they give us a release date for it. It is November 15th, 2016 on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. And all
I
of
think
the
we knew that already anyway, though.
we
I
did
think
know
they
that,
announced
but
that last week.
what we didn't know was all of the content for it, like map packs, DLCs, anything like that. PS4 is getting it 30 days early compared to the other platforms.
Also, too, something I'm confused about because when they had a Sony guy come out and talk about it. Is Sony making a Watch Dogs movie? Because they talked for like 45 seconds about a Watch Dogs movie.
I don't know. I don't believe they are, but I could be totally wrong. I haven't heard anything about it. I know Splinter Cell's getting a movie, Assassin's Creed's getting a movie, and what was the other one getting a movie? Wasn't there a third one?
Uh, Raving Rabbits.
I don't know. It might be getting a movie. I don't. If it is, it's the
Because
first I've heard of it.
the Sony guy came out, said something to Aisha Tyler, um, and then Aisha Tyler said, "Oh, you cast in the movie, maybe think about people." And she tried to make a joke about putting herself in the movie, but like, I don't know. It was weird and awkward, so I
Yeah,
was confused.
I don't know. But if you pre-order it, if you pre-order the collector's edition, you will get a Wrench Junior, which is a little robot dude that looks sort of like the Dalek from Doctor Who, except without the face cannon.
Oh my god, it does.
So, yeah, he's remote controlled, so he's kind of like the BB-8s that they sold with Force Awakens. So check him out if you like that. I'm sure it'll be reasonably expensive. I'm sure you'll buy it anyway. But
It's probably like $200, like most collector's editions.
yeah, but that was a very large section of the game, and they closed this out on a somewhat disappointing note. Not really. On a game called Steep, and this is probably the most narrow audience focused game they showed because it was a game that seemed to be entirely consisted of extreme sports games or extreme snow sports games, mountain gliding, paragliding, snowboarding, skiing, that kind of thing. And
So
you weren't very crazy about this, were you?
the thing is with it, right? I think it's like a cool idea when the trailer first opened, and like I noticed everyone had GoPros in their house. Like, is this just going to be like a GoPro video game? And I thought that idea was kind of cool. And then I noticed it was all kind of snow stuff. And like, I don't have a problem with snowboarding games. I love some snowboarding games. I love SSX, and I liked that old weird Shaun White game that Ubisoft made back in the day. And I weirdly thought it was going to be like a Shaun White like reboot or something. Um, but like, it's just I don't know. It for their last one big thing. I didn't think it needed that time. You know what I mean? Like if they had announced it maybe earlier in the press conference and was like, "Hey, look at this game. Isn't this game cool?" Like that would have been fine, but for their, this is our big surprise game. it was disappointing.
Yeah, this was a one more thing moment that didn't live up to the other one more thing moments. To me, it feels like they took, every open world game has these challenges like Just Cause, what's another game with those like area based challenges? Mine's going blank.
Uh, I think the first Watch Dogs
First,
actually had some of those.
first Watch Dogs might have had them. But like it seems like they took all of those mini games and made it its own separate game. Like if they took all the wingsuit challenges from Just Cause and made it into a game and then put it in the Alps. That's what this feels
That
like to me. And this Yeti dude looks awesome, by the way. That's the only thing I
Yeti
like. The Yeti dude with the orange goggles and the little horns.
I didn't notice him.
He was awesome.
Um, I think that was my problem with it mainly was that well, I don't know because I haven't played this game and I have no clue what the hell this game is really. I don't work at the studio. It just seems like a game that's about screwing around on a mountain with your friends. You know what I mean? And while that can be fun for sometimes, like that's like maybe a couple hours at the most, and then I'll get bored with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems like an add-on to a much bigger game. So I'm curious to see if there's maybe something we don't know about it, whether or not there's something that, they didn't announce or is still in development, because I believe the announcement was for this December. So they got some time, but not a lot of time.
Mm. Um, the other thing with this game is that it's very realistic. It's almost like a simulation of like snowboarding and skiing and stuff. And they showed a bunch of people like hitting the sides of the thing mountains, and the crowd was laughing. And I was like, no, don't laugh at that. That man's a vegetable now. He's
Yeah,
not getting up from that.
when the dude hit the bell and everybody sort of laughed. I was actually
Yeah,
surprised. The audience seemed to love this game. They went
yeah, they seem to be really into it.
they went a little nuts for this one. So maybe you and I are just the oddballs out here. But people seem to really, really enjoy this one. At least if I'm gauging it from the crowd's reaction.
I mean, who knows? I'll maybe end up checking it out, but like, it's not anything that I'm gonna be rushing out to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But final wrap up thoughts here, Jacob. Give it a grade. How does it rank up to the other conferences?
I thought it was long. Their one more thing was underwhelming, but overall, the thing I love the most is that they showed gameplay, and that's really what I look forward to in an E3 press conference. Overall, I got to knock it for the length and the one more thing, so I'll give it like an A. I was like halfway through, I was ready to give it an A plus, and then I found out that there was a lot more time left.
Yeah, I am much the same way. I saw about halfway through. I'm like, all right, this is a great conference. You started off with a weird dance thing with a giraffe. Aisha Tyler made fun of the French. I don't know what else I could want. And
It's true, you always get, and then I'm sure the French at home were like, "Oh, Aisha Tyler making fun of our culture."
yeah, that's exactly what they did. Every one of them, actually. And
They all smoke cigarettes after too.
yeah. And then, the Trials of the Blood Dragon idiots came out, and the conference dragged on. The one more thing wasn't great, and I'm gonna agree with you. I'm going A minus on this one. So that is our wrap up thoughts for the Ubisoft E3 press conference. Thank you guys for watching. Leave your opinions in the comments below, and stay tuned for the next conference, which I believe is who's next? Sony.
Sony. And then we're done. We're done, everybody.
Our obligations to you are over. But thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned.
See you guys.